Welcome to Kranky Live, the show where bold minds meet real talk. This isn't your average sports or news show. It's where we break down sports, culture, and controversy with facts, fire, and fearless honesty. Here, truth cuts through the noise and hype gets exposed. From football to track and field, from world issues to local debates, we ask the tough questions, speak without fear, and go deeper than the headlines. We don't follow the crowd, we set the trend. While others recycle the same tired takes, we bring fresh insight, unfiltered analysis, and bold perspectives. No echo chambers, no puppet talk, just real conversation for people who think for themselves. Listen with your brain, not just your ears. Think critically, question boldly, and speak freely. This is Kranky Live, where reason rules the mic and truth always win. Come on, let's get into it. Good night, good night, good night, good night. Bless up everyone out there in YouTube land. Do the do before you come into the chat. I don't think I put up that request active to hit the like button. I figure I'll leave it alone tonight. But thanks for joining me. I hope everyone had a good day. And I hope you have a great day tomorrow and great rest of the week. Today's Wednesday, tomorrow's Thursday. Week is almost done. Had a chance to watch some Champions League football today. My team won, even though we gave up so many chances. The Club Brugge is unbelievable. But they didn't score. It's all about the outcome. We had some great goals from a couple of wingers who did well, but not the regular starters. So not a bad day. And then Man City beat Real Madrid, who Xavi Alonso has been there, came from Leipzig, Germany, and he does play for Madrid and play for Liverpool. His job has been threatened. What is what? 2 of his last 8 he's won. And at Real Madrid, you don't need to have any long losing streak to lose your job, you know. And I sort of think, when I think about Real Madrid, I think about Jamaica in some respects. And people may be like, how do you link the two? From the idea of, to me, Real Madrid is what I call a pickup side. You go out and you buy a bunch of stars, you put them together. You get a manager who can manage egos, and you roll out the ball. I don't think anybody's going to say Ancelotti or Zinedine Zidane were geniuses on the coaching field and on the field of play in terms of how you coach players, but they, good night jargons, they did a great job of managing exceptional talent and getting great outcome, whether it's Modric or Bale or Ronaldo, whatever, Benzema. If you go to the long list of players that have come through, they all were stars where they came from. They all work together to arrive at a good outcome. Bless up Ted Dexter. So it's a good thing. And the reason why I say Jamaica, because we have a bunch of players who play for different clubs or in different countries, and we bring them together in a very short window and expect them to create miracles. And sometimes they're not at the right level. El Padrino, bless up Tough Ruda, bless up Tough Ruda, and DJ Dredger, I'll call it. Good night. Thanks for joining. And people, hit the like button when you come in. I'm not so stingy with the like, man. Hit the like button. But tonight I want to talk about local football, Jamaica football, and be very focused on that, because we have heard more recently, well, we've been hearing this for a long time. We've been having a dialogue of diaspora versus local, and that dialogue has been somewhat exhausted. And when you think it's exhausted, it rears its head again. And more recently, the JFF permanent interim GenSec, who take it from Dennis Chung, Roy Simpson, who's been with the organization for a long, long time. Probably been there, how long? Probably about 17, 20 years, maybe even longer. I don't know what the total time frame is, but it's a long time. Came in and made some comments in the public domain, which were very, very concerning. And from where I sit, very, very irresponsible, actually. And I was told that there are people in the media who agreed with him and basically said, see, I was telling you that a long time. Somebody finally come in and said it. In terms of diaspora players are the problem, and they need to go more local. So tonight we're going to do this. We're going to take a conversation that I think has not necessarily been really dissected, elaborated on, and sort of talk through this somewhat. We have blamed the diaspora players for not automatically qualifying for the World Cup, which I find really interesting. As part of the narrative, when we're undergoing the qualification process, we've heard about commitment of local players and lack of commitment for diaspora players. Some people have talked about team chemistry. And if you keep chopping and changing the team, you can't have that chemistry allowed to be successful. Some people have blamed the selection process as part of the problem. Some have blamed the coach, and we have had 2 coaches come and go during the qualifiers to date. Now we have a 3rd coach who's on board. And historically, for most teams, whether it's club or country, coaches take most of the blame. But what we are failing to see, and many know this, the elephant in the room is not those things which we just talked about before. The elephant in the room is that Jamaica's biggest problem, as it relates to local players, is the poor development of local players, not diaspora players. And it's very disingenuous for a lot of the parties involved to be making the case against diaspora players. So tonight we're gonna touch upon a few things, and I'll go through my agenda, which I'll put on the stage. We're gonna talk about the false narrative and sort of break it down, how this narrative was created and why it was created. Why is it that the coaches that we bring in, why is it that they choose diaspora players? Where is the development failure, which is pervasive and very evident to see, because it's all about outcome, then that's clear. The accountability or lack thereof by the major parties who inform Jamaica's football. The Ecuador model, which we're always trying to do comparative as it relates to anything we do in life. What's the benchmark? What's the example? What can I compare it with? What can I use to help me as a benchmarking tool in my own process of trying to get better at whatever I do? So we look at sort of Ecuador, more importantly, Independiente, who's a team in Ecuador that does a good job of developing talent. And then we think through what's sort of the way forward. And we use part one say the theory solution, our real solution we'll propose. Even though solutions are very difficult sometimes because they involve a lot of things which may not be easily accessible. Let me stop there and acknowledge people in the chat. Marvin Ferran, bless up. Big Ed Boy. Big Ed Boy says, so after 98, Roy came around and he was pretty much downhill since then. Bless up Drew Fortis, Kevin Mitchell, all the team in Jamaica is recruit players. Bless up Owen. I find that interesting. So let's jump into it. If we think about the last 20 years, let's think about since 98, since people like to go back to 98. Every time we fail to qualify for the World Cup, we jump up and blame something or somebody. Too much diaspora players. We need local players. The foreign born not committed. The foreign born not good enough. They don't know our culture. They don't know how we operate. They don't know our moods, whatever it is we want to come up with. But a lot of times the blame doesn't reside where it should reside. Right? And the narrative is very powerful because if you're local, and in most countries, let's be honest, people have an association, an affection, an affinity for things which are closer to them. You watch local schoolboy football or local club football. You build up an affinity or an association with individuals who are in that environment. You see them play. They look really good, even though a lot of times they're playing against inferior competition. And you believe that they're the greatest thing since sliced bread. And that narrative about diaspora, local, because the word foreign is very toxic, it sounds patriotic. It sounds nationalistic. Until if you think about it, the people you're talking about, the only way under FIFA rules you can play for a country is if you're citizens of that country. You can't play otherwise. That means you have to qualify under that country's constitution to be able to be deemed a citizen, then allow you to play. So by default, if you become a citizen, you're a Jamaican. Just like in the US, you become a US citizen, you are a citizen of that country. You are entitled to all rights and privileges of that country. I want to touch upon something really important as we go through this, which is something Roy Simpson says and how that's going to work going forward. If diaspora players were the problem for all these years since 98, and even some people say during 98, when Paul Young and Freddie Butler and others were pushed off the team, that it was unfair and we were going for too many diaspora players. It's happening since then. The question is, in the last 27, it's really 28 years, because 97 was the year, we went to World Cup 98. In the last 27, 28 years, why hasn't Jamaica developed the local talent to replace those players? Can somebody explain that? The institutions in Jamaica, whether it's the media or the coaches or the clubs or the JFF, each time we fail, the narrative is almost the same. And the question I'll ask them, and it's not a rhetorical question, if that has been the case, and we believe we should have more balance, as some people say, or we need to have more local players, why hasn't Jamaica developed those players? Or do we believe that we have developed them, but they're not being used? I still don't understand that. Now, here's why it's false. Diaspora players are not blocking local players. Now, if you believe blocking is I play under a meritocracy system and I come into the team and displace you because you're not at the level you need to be, to me, that's not blocking. That's just how any environment works. Any professional environment works, or any environment, whether it's the business world or in sports. It's false because local players are not being developed properly. And I'll touch upon that a little bit more. Jamaica doesn't have any elite academy structure. I know Mud Pleasant is trying, but they have no elite academy structure. Fitness, tactics, tools, decision-making gaps are massive. Diaspora players grew up in an environment, most of them, where it's professional, where they become professionals in more than one sense, not just because they get paid, but because of how they operate, how they live, how they work. And they have modern training to get them to a level to be successful. So it's not diaspora versus local. It's really developed versus underdeveloped. It's not foreign versus local. It is basically one set of players who've been developed in an environment where they can maximize their potential, and another set who have not been given that opportunity or been coached and trained the right way to achieve their objective and the objective of the organizations, whether it's club or country. Now, we should talk about who benefits from blaming the diaspora. Because there's some benefit, may not be as tangible as they'd like it to be, but it will be in some way, shape, or form. If you blame the diaspora for all these problems, local coaches protect themselves. In fact, I was talking to a well-known local coach the other day, and he said to me that he had certain perception and perspective on certain matters, and it has changed since he has gone through the coaching process. He seemed to be indicating that what he's learned from it has opened his eyes, and almost as if he was a novice when it relates to football until he went through that very meticulous process. And now he has a different perspective on certain things. So local coaches who are unprepared or themselves not well developed, if they continually admit that diaspora players are just better, they are also admitting that their coaching skills are limited. Tactical rigidity, old school training, no sports science, limited international exposure, don't know the fundamentals of coaching, learn coaching from just playing football and learning on the job, not investing in themselves, not going through courses, not observing and getting information about coaches who have done really well and their tactics. They can admit that they're the failure, not the diaspora players who are the problem. If we go to the administrators, if they don't say diaspora are the problem, then over the last 28 years, they have failed miserably. Miserably. So instead, they push this, use locals. We don't need foreign. We have failed over the last 28 years. It's a diaspora problem. It's a diaspora. We have too many foreign players in our team. Not because it's true, but because it protects them. And they can use those scapegoats as the reason as to why diaspora players are the problem. It's an easy way to go and to blame those players. Now, the traditional media, and one could say, what's the media doing as part of this? Coaches coach a player, administrators administer, even though I'm not sure how well they administer. But we'll come back to the administrators because we're not done with them yet. Media depends on access. And that's why you see, for example, in the US, for example, certain parties or certain persons, I won't name, can say the most egregious things and the media still covers them because it sells. The media need access. They need interviews. They need press passes. They need inside information. They need to be on the fence and somebody whisper to them. They need to be peeping toms, so people have to whisper to them so they can get information and can disseminate it and bring it to the public. So they avoid the real issue and push the easy storyline. And what I find distasteful and basically unbelievable is that I have made a conscious and concerted effort to listen and read what's coming out of Jamaica media, since we didn't qualify automatically. And there are a lot of emotions that come out of me. I am confused. I am puzzled. I am concerned. I am frustrated. I am flabbergasted. I don't understand, and I'm pissed off. Just plain English. I don't understand the narrative I'm seeing from the media. It is strange. So what does that mean? So I see the Boyd article in the Gleaner. I see the permanent GenSec article of his discussion at the Business House. I hear from other parties. The two parties who get blamed the most for the failure is the coach and the diaspora players. Even though the more recent article that Boyd wrote and what Roy Simpson, the GenSec, his speech, focus on the diaspora players, not as much on the coach, which I find interesting. Because if they say the coach is the main problem, then they have to go think about, well, we hired the coach. So we got to be very careful about who we put the blame on because we come back to us. So I find that truly amazing as it relates to the narrative that the media has not, I would expect to see full-blown articles destroying the coach and destroying the administration. And what I see is the administration being able to go on these tours, go to all the media houses, provide a perspective, manage their failure, and be able to provide their perspective in a manner in which even those environments, they're protected. When they go speak, like if you come on my program and I was asking a question about the work on about the automatic qualification, I mean, my questions would be very intrusive. Even though I would be professional, I would ask real questions. I would not say you can only ask a question for 5 minutes and you can only ask one question and the question has to be limited. Or you know what? I'm going to have you sit down and talk about what you're going to do going forward, not what transpired. Or I'm going to ask you these softball questions because I watch CVM. I listen to KLAS. I listen to the Observer interview. I listen to all those programs, read the Gleaner. And I could not believe what I was reading and hearing. In most countries I see, if this was like the UK, which we use as an example, because they were our slave masters previously, they would be just destroying everyone and anything that touched that program because the blame is to be shared, but whoever is overseeing and running it is principally responsible. Player selection, coach selection, everything around the program, one party oversees it, the administration owns it. Now, here's what's important. Why does every coach who joins the program, or at least the ones more, let's say the ones more recently, John Wall for the youth team, Hallgrímsson for the senior team, and more recent McClaren, why do they choose? Why do they all come to the same conclusion? Why? Every single one of them, no matter what style they coach, no matter where they're from, because they're not from the same place, no matter what era they're from, all chose Diaspora players. In fact, the one instance where John Wall didn't get a chance to choose Diaspora players, we know what happened to the under 20. Hallgrímsson was Diaspora. John Wall was Diaspora. McClaren was Diaspora. Now, here's what's interesting. Really interesting. Miguel Coley and Rudolph Speed will be bringing a team to compete in the playoffs for the World Cup qualifiers. Now, we have heard the Gen Sex say, I'm going to use my own term, if we get rid of the overseas base players. So me hear him say. Some people say, he says, no, that's not what he says. He's saying we need to have a better balance in the process. Now that me I hear. May I say that's where a player make we feel. We use them, we try, it now work, move forward. His prerogative, he can feel that way. But I'd be curious to know what Miguel Coley and Rudolph Speed, because they're going to be judged, by how they perform, who they bring into this team to play. It's going to be local players, locally born players, locally based players, or both. What will it be? Very curious. But let's go back to the coaches who coach Jamaica. These coaches have world-class exposure. They've evaluated players using professional standards. They work for some of the biggest clubs. They coach some of the biggest countries. They have compared Jamaica locally born players and locally based players to global benchmark and global standard, and they have found it wanting. They care about winning, not politics. And sometimes they were pressured, and people are going to protest this, they were pressured to include locally based or locally born players in the national team. Pressured. And in one instance, the coach divorced the organization. In fact, in both cases, in two cases, they divorced the organization. Because one coach resigned of his own volition. The both resigned of their own volition. And one coach was pushed out and went to FIFA and got compensation for it because he was wrongly pushed out because he was wanting to use Diaspora players. What did the coaches all conclude? What did they all conclude? They all conclude that local players, a lot of them, especially when locally based, are not ready. They all conclude that Diaspora players gave them the best chance to win. Now think about it this way. There's not many coaches I know whose primary goal and objective is not to win. That's what they want. That's how they are judged, based on wins and losses. And if those coaches come to Jamaica, where it's a new environment to them, and they decide that the local players are not at the right level, and that the players from the diaspora are better players and bring them in, could give them the best chance to win, they're more objective than anybody else, because they are judged, and the outcome are being judged based on the players that they have in their squad. And here's what the coaches see: poor defensive positioning, slow decision making, weak tactical knowledge, insufficient strength and conditioning, limited tools to conduct their jobs, poor off-the-ball movement, lack of professional habits, inconsistent training method, massive fitness gaps. Over and over and over, they find deficiencies in the locally based players. That's without a doubt. So if coaches with bigger resumes, more experience, look at the local talent and say, they're not ready, why is traditional media arguing something different? I am really puzzled, and I don't understand that. And I hear this little shot man I would say, we need a balance, we need balance, we need this, we need that. And you just listen to him just thinking, just go away. You have no idea what you're talking about. Why is the traditional media? Why are some fans arguing? Why would McClaren, Hallgrímsson, Wall want to destroy their own resume and their own career? Just think about that for a second. Because we can all be told that the diaspora will live overseas and the persons local have difference of opinion and different objectives. Fine. I don't think they are, but we can say that they do. Why would someone who come into your organization, is a coach, has no other objective than to win and to do well? Why would they go with a set of players that you believe not giving best chance to win? Why would they call you out? I remember when McClaren was at Savannah Park and he was talking about the players, about how they were quick and strong and committed and fast, because McClaren is a politician. And TVJ went on and said how brilliant he said the players were. Basically, they didn't use those words, but basically they summarized. They quoted something which was far-fetched and nowhere close to what the coach meant, which was disingenuous. I don't think it was a mistake on their part. They were trying to sell a narrative. Now, if we think about Jamaica's development failure, no elite academies in Jamaica. I know my president is doing something, a couple more academies. Every major footballing country has these academies. I see where Antonio was investing in academies in what? Was it Ghana? Why is he not investing in Jamaica? Jamaica don't have any elite academies. We have a one person in Jamaica who pushed through 2 ball and him free same walk on top of the earth, and he can't be challenged because nobody else is doing it. The business community is not investing, the others not investing, the clubs don't have the resources. There's no standardized curriculum. The coaching is atrocious. Poor coaching education, outdated methods, minimal tactical schooling, no modern youth development philosophy. Coaches not exposed to real world practices. These are facts. Now, I know that there's a coaching setup being put in place or have been put in place and they're working through, and some people have their A license and tons are getting C and D, whatever they are. But the coach is not where it needs to be. Like our sports science. Today, the world is driven by data. Data. Poor recovery protocols, limited injury prevention, no analytics, not enough fitness specialists. You hear when McClaren was here, or Hallgrímsson, they complain about the lack of tools that are required and needed to effectively do their job. McClaren said it more recently when he was in Jamaica. And he's the most political person I know. There's a schoolboy football problem, which is not helping the football development. An overemphasis on short-term results. School have to win, have to satisfy alumni. Not development focused. Very physical. Too little tactical emphasis. Season's way too short. When Hallgrímsson come here and walk in here, they talked about that. Why are you playing football from August or September to December? What happened to the rest of the year? And if you're going to play that much football, you're going to be overplayed during that period. Players underdeveloped from January through August. Those things are facts. And if you go to the JPL, which is one step above schoolboy football, the league is ranked 10th in CONCACAF. Just let that sink in, people. And the top team in the region, Mount Pleasant, in the Caribbean, is ranked 60 plus. And you want to go compete on a global basis with a 10th ranked league and 60 plus ranked club, and that club is best in the Caribbean. So you know how bad the Caribbean is. When Guatemala and Honduras and all these are ahead of you. Players are paid atrociously in that league. It's a semi-professional league. They gotta have day jobs. Low training intensity, poor facilities for most of the club, or not sufficient facilities. Scouting is not what it should be. Weak competition structure. Players playing against people of similar ability were not good enough. So that system needs a complete rebuild. Now, one of the things that I try to do is when I look at these things is try to figure out, is there a comparative that one could use to help inform one's perspective? Can you leverage off what a country that may have a similar structure as you in terms of people, economics, that you can see to help you in your development, whatever the discipline you're involved in? So, for example, think about football from a size perspective, Uruguay comes to mind. Or from an economics perspective, Ecuador comes to mind. So I use Ecuador. I've mentioned this numerous times. I had one of my staff that I work with in corporate. He's always telling me about Independiente. I'm like, so what would the history of Independiente? And he says one of the wealthy men in the country formed this club a while ago and create a whole football ecosystem. A whole ecosystem. Training fields, dorms, classroom, academics, nutrition program for the players. And also would bring across to Ecuador coaches from some of the more the larger countries and elite clubs. And they've done a brilliant job of developing players. Whether it's in Capi at Arsenal, Caicedo, you see the more recent Quintero twins who are going to Arsenal 16, they got to come in there 18, 27 million pounds. The thing Kid Paez, who plays forward, who's played for the Ecuador national team, is under 20, going to Chelsea. They have sold a number of players for fees, and what they do really well is on sell-on clauses in those contracts to get those players, develop them. And a lot of those players that are in the national team come through that process. Now, that may be a bit more difficult for Jamaica because I've been informed, I had a conversation before I came on the show with somebody about this, is that the business community don't have that same desire in Jamaica to invest money long-term for something which is not a surety in terms of outcome and production. And so my view is, why can't you pull from different countries, different clubs, different organizations, and have a hybrid model whereby the JFF and the clubs are working together to come up with a model that works best for everyone to develop players who can matriculate to the national team. Since you want to build a locally based squad, you have to find a way to get that locally based squad to be able to compete on a global basis and compete at a high level. And if you got to do so, you may not be able to follow any given model to achieve your objective, but you can have a hybrid model, which you can go about doing so. You can pull from Independiente, you can pull from Barcelona, you can pull from all these different clubs and countries. The UK went through this for a while when they weren't doing well in football, but they have money. Jamaica ain't got that kind of money. But for you to be able to do this and do it well, you need people in place in the organizations to help. From a player development standpoint, between the age of 9 and 19, first of all, JFF needs to have a technical director. And I saw where Downsell is now. I don't even know who the technical director is for the JFF. That's overseeing the entirety of the football program, that national program, as it relates to what happens on the field. Because it was Downsell for a while, and now, but I have no idea what he did, to be honest. So I couldn't say it was him. Now I know he's coaching the under 17 and he's assistant coach for the under 20. So did he get demoted? I don't know how that works. But that's confusion, and that doesn't make any sense to me. I would think the first thing you have to do is get the administration right, and I'll touch up on the next. But in terms of 9 to 19, some basic things to do: tactical prioritization, positional play, pressing principles, build-up structure, modern finishing training, decision-making under pressure. I have said this numerous times. Jamaica has never produced a world-class midfielder, and everyone close to it. People keep talking about Whitmore, and they mentioned some names. Just look on him, and Andy Williams. Look on him, and stop. I said world-class, or take Troy world-class. Very, very good to play at a high level. None. You talk about Alan Skilcoat from way back when. He played in Brazil, and Brazil was a known commodity when it comes to football and local football. But we haven't produced any. We produced a good defender in Bibi Gardner who played at a high level. We produced Ricardo Fuller and Shelton and Peter Shelton and the Shelton of the world. But it's not like something that, because when you play forward and wing, it's a little bit different. Your physical attributes come out more in terms of you're quick, you've developed certain skills, you're skillful. You may not be as technical and tactically aware, which is regarding midfield as you need. That doesn't come across. It doesn't. So, for example, Ecuador is not richer than Jamaica. The person who runs Independiente may be rich, as a lot of people in Jamaica. But what you have to do is try to get people in the seat in the JFF to work with the business community, to work with sponsors, to work with the clubs, to come up with a model which fits Jamaica, which would allow you in a certain time period to develop footballers that can matriculate to the national team. Right now, that's not there. And if you think about accountability, it's not just a JFF issue. The JFF has failed the football. No development plan, no continuity, no vision, no investment, no real investment in youth, politics over progress, everybody trying to get their players in the national team so they can sell them on. No real thought or vision about direction of travel and strategy for the football program. And they keep waffling and they keep struggling. It's in this quagmire. And then we can hear a GenSec come out and say certain things. I just want to say, just shut up. Stop embarrassing yourself. It sounds good to your local constituent because they're part of the problem also. But it's not just JFF who fail. What about the club administrators? Do they invest enough in youth? Do they invest enough in coaching? Do they invest enough in development of players? Do they have modern training standards? Yes, I know resources are a problem or a challenge, but that's part of the problem. And the coaches. We have just started, and maybe in the last, 2-3 years, really investing in coaching in Jamaica. And we went to the World Cup last in 1997, and everybody keep referring back to 1998. And don't realize in the last 20 years, the football has regressed in the country. Certain things look good. Certain clubs have decent fields and it looks good. We have become a professional league. But in terms of on the world stage and what we accomplished for the men's team, if you want to use 98 as the barometer, we have regressed. And don't get me started on traditional media. Traditional media in most countries are the guardian of information, the one source of trust to the public, supposed to be independent and objective. The media has been an embarrassment when it comes to the football, and when it comes to transparency, and when it comes to calling out who are culpable for the failure in the football. They have been just a pure embarrassment. Embarrassment. And it's very frustrating to listen to them, to hear them, And they all they get people call in, and it's the same narrative that they're espousing, and they feel good about themselves. They beat their chests. I told you. Same thing I said, I told you. And to the informed parties, they just sound stupid. But to the sycophants, they sound awesome. They sound articulate. They sound informed. They sound educated. They sound intelligent. They sound great. It's wonderful. But to me, it just is frustrating. And sometimes I pull my hair out and I don't have any hair to pull out because I listen to the nonsense and I'm like, this doesn't make any sense. Why would the parties who are supposed to be in business to provide information to people, sometimes let them make their own minds up, may have their editorial and perspective and make sure it's clear what sides they're on, why would they be so biased? Why would they be so unprofessional? Because that unprofessionalism permeates that environment. It permeates the JFF with a Gensek coming on and say what he says. It permeates the media with them being sycophants of the people who are part of the problem. It permeates some of the locally developed players in terms of how they operate. And we saw it more recently. The unprofessionalism, it reminds me of some organization we have in the US at the highest level. Lack professionalism, lack decorum, lack basic fundamental thing of good taste. And it can't be okay. Now, in terms of solution, trying to fix the problem, you see me mention the benchmark and Independiente, but maybe the hybrid is this. And they were supposed to be doing this, right? In terms of having scouts, when the FIFA development program they have that came to COVID, where you're supposed to have different centers, high-performing centers. I have a little roadmap where, in my view, you can't use the traditional model of just what is seen in most developing countries where the clubs are the one doing development. The JFF has to be actively involved in it, in creating high-performing centers, which it's supposed to be having now, but which I don't see how that's really working. If the under-20 is an indication, if the under-17 are an indication, maybe it's too early in that process, but where are we? Maybe they're in different parts. Kingston, Montego Bay, something in the middle, Ocho Rios. Maybe you can have people close proximity enough to be able to utilize those centers, and kids may not have to go too far away from home. It's only 144 miles from one end to the next. What's our playing philosophy? What system of play do we have? What build-up patterns do we articulate? What pressing system do we have? What youth development training and professional training do we have? What do we really have? Spain have a playing philosophy, which I always use as my example. Why don't we have one? And it permeates the clubs and it permeates the country. I know money is a challenge, but we have to work with governments from other countries who respect their footballing philosophy to come engage us and help us. Maybe we get our government involved to assist in that endeavor. The coaching education needs to improve. We can't only use Trinidad as the basis to learn how to coach. I'm sorry. Trinidad is floundering themselves. Trinidad uses this as a method to generate income for their footballing program. No knock against Trinidad, but we need to expand our horizon. And you hear me keep saying this. We need to ensure that we get uncomfortable. We get comfortable with the uncomfortable. Put yourself in a situation. Miguel Cole did that. He went overseas. He got his pro license. He got comfortable with the uncomfortable. He didn't get any major coaching job, but at least he expanded his horizon and he invested in himself. You have to fix schoolboy football. Or you know what? Don't engage with schoolboy football. The kids who play football have no aspiration to be professional and at a certain level. You have to create an ecosystem outside of schoolboy football because I don't think it's helping. I think it's hurting. And you got to have a system to track players, 13 and under, national database, scouting system. Some people develop later, they get involved in the process. You have to come up with a robust system of developing players, and you have a tracking mechanism to figure out what timeline you're working with. When should you be seeing some fruits for your labor? Right now, we don't have that. So let me just say this. In closing us out, Jamaica issue is not diaspora players. Jamaica issue is not the diaspora players. It never was. They don't pick themselves. They don't pick themselves. They don't pick themselves in the national team. We hire coaches who look at the talent available at their disposal and pick those players. It was never about commitment. I hear this little short man always around more about commitment, and the local players them play fast and them run harder. It's about them run fast and hard and burn out themselves and they make poor decisions. That's not their fault. That's how they were coached. It's not because they're more committed and they're more patriotic. Some players play with more composure. They manage themselves in the game. If a player played different for his club than he plays for his country, that's an issue in terms of commitment and how they play and how hard they play and how well they play. That's a challenge. That's maybe an issue, right? If it's not informed by the competition. If you see them putting more effort for their club and country, as a continuous basis, you have a big enough sample size, that may be a problem. I don't see that when I see the players. It's about development or lack thereof. When you fix development, diaspora players improve the team. Local players reach international level. Jamaica can compete on a global basis because I have a much broader breadth of players to pick from, to choose from, that informs the national team. The debate about local versus diaspora, when local players can compete, it gets mitigated. May not totally go away, but gets reduced significantly. And we all benefit. The administration benefit, the media benefit, the coaches benefit, the players benefit, the fans benefit. But until we fix this, we're going to be stuck in the same cycle. Blame, excuse, failure, repeat. Same old narrative, weak narrative, lazy narrative. And it happens all the time. And my biggest frustration is not just with the administration as much with the administration, it's with the media. Because I'm used to media being the guardian of information, the guardian for the populace, the parties who, make sacrifices and ensure that we're provided with information that's accurate, that's timely, that's informative, and that helps us in terms of how we think about these things. And the media has been compromised. And it's not a good look. The JFF are going to defend themselves. The JFF is never accountable. When I hear the JFF talk about the failure so far, they continue to reduce their involvement, their culpability in the whole debacle, in the whole calamity. It's amazing how that works. They keep reducing what their role was. You would think that they had no culpability, no responsibility. The way they think about the way the JFF talks. Have you heard the president come out and give a rousing speech about this? The two things I hear the interim coach come out and express his perspective as to why his situation. And I hear the GenSec come out and gave the most irresponsible speech I've heard in a long time. Now, I ask you this question. If you're a player from the diaspora, how do you even engage this person? If you're Hayden, if you're Russell, if you're Bobby Reed, who's been a long-standing servant, if you're Greg Lee, if you're Amari Bell, if you're Limbakiza, if you're Lati Badir, if you're any of these players, do you even engage a GenSec who's around the team a lot of time? Do you talk to him? Do you engage him? Do you even want to see him? You want to be in his space? Really? This is the man supposed to be the second most important person in the JFF organization, even though he's probably way down the ladder from a reality standpoint. Are you disgusted, as somebody said in the chat? How do you, as a diaspora player, want to engage this person, want to see this person, want to be around this person? How? It doesn't make sense to me, people. I find it amazing that anybody with any sense of leadership, any sense of executive presence, any sense of gravitas, any sense of knowledge, any sense of responsibility or accountability and transparency would ever in the public domain come out and made such a speech. It's almost like a Pandikana speech, It's a Pandikana. That's not an executive speech. That's not somebody who understands their role and responsibility in the organization. That's not kind of speech. I could see Dennis Strong making that speech. Yes, you may be emotive because you didn't qualify automatically. Yes, you may be upset. You may even have some of the thoughts that you do, but you express them in a public forum? Really? Wow. I find that amazing. I don't think this person should keep his job. That's just me. But he probably gets rewarded because he probably espoused the views of a lot of people in that organization, which is sad. Good night.
Good night.
Good night.
Good night.
By the way, people, I'm giving everybody just 5 minutes. Just want to tell you that because some people already called me, so they're going to call into the show. So I'm giving everybody 5 minutes. So go ahead. You share time.
I want to address two things. You suggested government funding, and
I said nothing about government funding.
No. You said maybe the government get involved.
Right.
How would the government get involved?
Get involved by creating access. So if you want to engage Spain and you don't have any contacts in Spain, does the government have a relationship to its ambassador avenue, to those avenues to allow you to get access? For example, Spain may be difficult with Barcelona because Barca country and the Spanish government don't work along. If you want to get in touch with Ecuador, does the government have a relationship with Independiente to get you that access? Because you may not really have direct access. So you try to exploit all means that you have to get the access, to have the conversation, to get information.
Okay, fine. So the government will assist in some way.
Yeah.
I did some research regarding how much the government is funding the JFF. And I'm going to use that to say something. In 2010, the government gave the JFF $150 million towards preparation for the World Cup.
Use US dollar number. 150 sounds a lot. The reason why I said that, it sounds a lot, but
yeah.
Say $1 million US, rounded.
Okay, $1 million US then. For the last World Cup, the Jamaican government gave the JFF $20 million. I don't know how much that in US.
100.
And what?
Go ahead.
Yes. Okay. On one hand, these things are occurring. On the other hand, I hear that the public cannot do anything about the JFF. The JFF is a private organization. If the government get involved, FIFA will do this and do that. Both things cannot exist. We would not put up with this in any other circumstance. If there was a business in Jamaica that the government was funding in this manner, and they are behaving improperly, we will ask that the government must either pull funding or put some stipulation in or do something. We can't have it both ways. We can't have the government funding the JFF with the public's money in this type of manner and doing auxiliary things like what you suggest. But on one hand, on the other hand, the government cannot interfere with the JFF running, and the public must just live with the JFF, no matter what the JFF does.
Yeah, I think so. They both can be true. But what you're saying is this: we can amend this in some way, shape, or form. So we may not be able to change the leadership of the JFF, but the government does provide funding. I think it's on a quarterly basis to the JFF for their operational activities. And your question is, if the government is uncomfortable or not satisfied with JFF is operating and the outcome that are being produced, then maybe the government should pull its funding, because the government can't change the leadership, because it's a FIFA organization, it's an electoral process. Governments don't get involved with these football organizations. And the best example, people, go check Brazil. It was a footballing powerhouse. And what happened in Brazil? With the government getting involved and FIFA threatened and the government backed down and the judges backed down. I thought judges had made certain decisions. So both things can be true from the concept of the government give money, the administration in the government cannot affect or change the JFF. But you're right that this money is discretionary and that money can be pulled at any point in time.
And because ultimately, this is the public's money. So the Jamaican people are funding the JSS. And if the Jamaican people are funding the JSS, the response when the public is angry, and it drives me crazy, and it just turns me red. It cannot be shut your mouth, the JSS is private, and nothing can be done. And the public must just take what the JSS does.
No, it's a great point you're making, and I do believe.
It's ridiculous.
Yeah, I do think that one can influence organizations, even though you may not be empowered to change how that organization operate from a leadership structure or who sits in what seat. You can influence it because money talks, as they say.
Yeah.
So you don't want to go in as a government and, like in some countries, and get banned because you go in and say, this person can be president. But there are other more subtle ways of influencing change without going to the more direct confrontational method.
And if the government is funding the JSS, that means the JSS is not a viable organization as well. I wouldn't say that. I wouldn't say that. If the JSS cannot exist as a quote unquote private entity, that means the JSS is not viable economically. Because if you're viable economically, you would not need government support.
Well, no. I mean, football programs, as you know, they don't have surety of revenue streams, right? The revenue streams are very volatile. The revenue streams are not fixed. The revenue streams depend on a lot of different factors. Apart from maybe FIFA money and government money, which also are discretionary, even though I think FIFA is less discretionary. Your gate receipts, your sponsorship funding, your tournament winnings, those are not necessarily things which are confirmed or ones in which you say, you know what, it's definite. I'm going to get those every single year. They're not recurring costs. They're not recurring revenue streams which you're guaranteed to have. They're not guaranteed money. So that makes it challenging.
If the JSS, maybe, if the JSS are to fund themselves privately, they will behave differently. Think about that for a minute. Maybe if they weren't assured of this government money, they will behave more appropriately. I want to get to another point.
So you got 2 minutes over now, so I'm gonna give 2 more minutes. Go on.
I hear we talk about development and that the problem is the funding and the auxiliary things, the coaching and whatnot. And how are we arriving at this conclusion? Because in my opinion, I don't think on average there are enough naturally gifted footballers on the island. I don't think so.
I'm not sure what that means. Elaborate. I'm not sure what that means. So football, people start playing football a lot of times 5, 6, 7. We're just not innately gifted. Some people may be, but it's a small population. You don't just go to school and become a genius yesterday, right? You go to class, you learn over time. If you have good teachers, it helps a lot. You may have some innate intellect, but it has to be developed like everything else in life. So what do you mean you don't understand that we don't have elite footballers?
Yes, I mean, for the development to work, you have to be developing something. For example, when I was a little boy, it's highly unlikely I would have been developed into a good footballer because I just don't have that talent. I am not athletic like that. I don't have the talent. For example, take England, for example. England has 70 million people, but England does not have 20 million footballers because most of them are just natural. Are the natural.
You just went on a really, really bad slope, right? Really bad place. You don't, right? Just think about it.
How?
So if you're gonna use per capita as the criteria to assess the athleticism and capability of players, the black population in England is about 5%. And produce way more than 5% of players who play in the UK. Wait, hold up. The population in Jamaica of 3 million people, or less than 3, 2 point something, per capita produce much more athletes in track and field in the short distances than any other country in the world. So kids who have Jamaican lineage, if you look at the Premier League, for example, it's a Morgan Gibbs White or Marcus Rogers, whoever they are of Jamaican lineage, and lineage matters when it comes to sport, you can't make that conclusion that we don't have enough people with raw material to develop as footballers. Now, it's not only about physical attributes. Intellect is also a key component in a footballer, but we have enough empirical evidence to substantiate that the Jamaicans with Jamaican lineage or Jamaicans in Jamaica are enough, even though it's a small population, to allow us to produce footballers. We may not produce 100, but the number we produce should be much more than we do today.
I did not say, we can't, it's a slight of hand to go between footballers and athlete because, I'm talking about footballers specifically because I know you don't want to call his name and whatever, but there's a quote unquote man in Jamaica who is heralded as the development guru, right? He does everything on a smaller scale that I hear people want to be done on a larger scale.
The man has produced two people I know of who have reached certain heights. Now it's better than, because Jamaica's produced zero for the rest of the people, doesn't mean he's a guru or an elite. It's a small sample size.
I know, but I'm going to use him to prove a point. Every year we take at least a team to the UK and to Europe and try to get them contracts and whatnot. And he's doing it over more than 10 years. And over all that time, he has only produced one player who has played at the highest level in football.
Right.
So to extrapolate that across the island, that is telling me that the increase in top quality football that we're going to get is not going to be where we think. It's not going to be of the number that we expect.
I totally disagree with that mindset. You can only judge. You can't anticipate or prognosticate what you're going to get until you go down that road, because you have never had a very good development program for kids to come through who play football. And if we're going to use Ecuador as a benchmark, for example, who are doing so well in South America because they have a really good development program through Independiente, and a lot of players are, let's be frank, are black that come to Ecuador at that level. A number of them are, think about the Ecuador population, and they come from destitute communities. So if we're going to use one's economic situation as a guide and a way of judging if you're going to do well, then it would tell you that these players who come through Jamaica, because a lot of them who play football come from more challenged communities, they can be successful if they're coached the right way. The thing that we have heard a lot from these coaches, whether it's Hallgrímsson or Wall or McClaren, is that the players learn from an early age. You hear McClaren says that, 7, 8, 9, and they are taught to think football, and they are technical. Our players are not technical. They may have innate athleticism, but innate athleticism has to be nurtured and informed with technical capability to take both of those attributes and allow you to become elite. We haven't done that. We haven't coached them well. Our coaches have not been developed. How are you going to have a teacher come into class, come teach you physics when you don't know about physics? You hear about physics, MC Physics on TV, you don't know about physics. Hasn't learned it. Hasn't learned math the way you're supposed to learn it. And know all the fundamentals that inform you getting to be a good math teacher. Just come and play some football, same way and play, and the same way and coach.
I agree that I am not saying the development should not occur or the financing should not occur XYZ. I support all of that. But I want to have a realistic expectation of the outcome.
But I'm not having that. I mean, I gave you England as an example. You go look at England's history. Even when they were racist as hell, with the players who came through in the 70s, when we had the Windrush generation between the 50s, 60s, and early 70s, and through the 70s, and how much matriculated the football, The numbers are startling per capita compared to the larger population. I got to give you one more second because somebody's just calling too. So let me just give you one more second and then have the person take this call.
No, that's enough. I think I made my point and you counteracted it. Again, I support everything that you're promoting. I just want expectation to be, realistic. That's all.
All right. Thanks for the call. I appreciate it. Good call. Bless. The person who just called, call me back. Let me try to call him.
Sir Kranky.
Yes, who am I speaking to?
Evelyn, you are still live?
Me still live? Yeah, me live. Yeah, me live. So, man, what y'all say?
All right.
Who this?
All right, you are good. I will remain nameless.
All right, nameless. All right. Go on, nameless. Go on, nameless.
The caller a while ago, me hear what talk about like the population and athletic dynamics. The population size not have nothing to do with the athletic dynamics. It is, I personally believe it is quite simple. As you keep on saying, poor coaching, poor practices in terms of coaching techniques, poor youth development. And based on that, we continue to fail.
Yeah.
I was exposed to a little bit of football back home. After migrating, being here in the US, I've been exposed to football some more, to the extent where the Club World Cup recently in the US, I was able to observe PSG system, training, the techniques, the coaches, and believe me, Kranky, it was an experience and a half. The technology, the record, everything based on my observation. They are to the T. Enriquez and his team, we're just looking in terms of proper resources, proper coaching techniques and development, systems of play. We just not develop it. We coaches not develop. As just rightfully said, education is poor. Our coaches complacent, and a lot of them fail to adequately explore outside of the region. And it's a kill with football. And as I said, the media, because I've been watching the response. They used to listen to KLS. I'm going to stop listening to them because I realize the nepotism, the bias, the interview where I talk about with Harville. One more, I watch the interview and I said, this coming like a batter pan catch.
Yep, it was a batter pan catch.
A joke thing. The short man and him stupidity of homegrown players or local players. Kranky. 90% of our local players them not ready. I don't try to discredit nobody or disencourage, but based on what I have seen and based on being here and the little exposure that I would have received, we are like far behind in terms of development, coaching, system of play. And until we decide to change the bureaucracy and let me not say the bureaucracy. Until we decide to change our mindset and become adaptive to modern way of doing things, modern coaches, modern style of playing football, we are always go around in the circle. And now the World Cup failure shouldn't be blamed at the diaspora players. The failure should be at the foot of the JFF and the coach. They say it stop.
Yeah, man. Appreciate the call, sir.
Yeah, man, because even, I don't know if it's, I think last night before me, I watch one thing, because now I watch your show, I watch Toxic Boss. I thought, you want where the appointed head coach now say, I go so.
Oh, okay.
And me see me that him get one call from one former executive of the JFF. I won't call any name. It's up on YouTube. You can go watch it back.
Okay.
And he was trying to ask him some questions which was of essence, needed to be answered. And it was appalling.
Not surprising.
No, the response from that individual, the individual is a part of the St. Thomas FA.
Okay.
Yeah, man. The whole response there is justification, is way of trying to protect even the JFF, and I was like,
why isn't the JFF getting a significant portion of the blame for the failure of the team to automatically qualify? Why is JFF be able to absolve themselves of any accountability relating to this failure?
Corey favors Kranky, it's quite obvious. Corey favors. Man want interview.
Yeah, he did get his interview. Very timely.
Yeah, man. Man, Corey favors, it's quite obvious one. Man want interview. Man want can break the story first. And
yeah.
To add to it, some things that really surprised me. When I look on even the gleaner from the article from Boyd, we never expect the gleaner and institutional media house to become embroiled in this mediocre behavior. Stupidity at its highest level.
Yep, totally agree. But yeah, man.
I hope and pray we can get over North Macedonia. And
I like Caledonia, not Macedonia. Macedonia. Macedonia playing a team. None of that good or bad, but yeah.
Hope and pray we get, and then hopefully God will give America against the Dominica, Congo.
The more I have watched Congo, the larger the miracle becomes.
Why?
I started watching Congo because I really was watching them. And I'm watching them play thinking, what are we better than them in? That's the first question I ask myself, given our players. What do we do better?
Watch a few games with them and there is nothing we do better. Watch back all the Nigeria game about 4 times and I go back and watch back our game against Nigeria B team in England.
Yeah.
And it's like chalk to cheese. So
well, I'm sure the new interim coach will create miracles and we'll all be happy. We'll all be happy. Well, but appreciate the call, man.
All right, cool.
Yeah, man.
Cool.
Have a good night. All right.
Thank you.
Let me call back this number. Uh-oh. Good night. Hello.
Good night, thank you. Yes. Good night. How are you?
I'm doing well. How are you doing?
I'm fine. The country Jamaica should study is Uruguay.
Okay.
3.4 million people, and they produce
but the problem. So we should study different countries, but Uruguay, size-wise, because somebody was saying, how can we produce per capita? Yeah. But the thing about they've been doing this for a long, long time, so maybe more institutionalized there. The question, who has done it over the last 15 years or so, or last 10 years or so? What methods did they employ or deploy? How we can leverage that along with the Uruguays of the world, and even some of the more industrialized countries, what they do. How can we pull sense from nonsense and sense from sense and use that to inform what we should be doing? That's the question.
It's 3.4 million people.
Yeah. It's a small country.
Yeah,
But I mean, they had the first World Cup, and they have won World Cup before, well, long time ago, and they have performed well in World Cup. So
yeah, that's just my 2 cents.
all right, Sam, I appreciate the 2 cents.
Yeah.
Yeah, man, bless. I see a call. Oh Lord, this is gonna be a long one, people. I think. Oh yeah, it's gonna be a little one. This one is where somebody's trying to beat people. So calling back in answer, people. Maybe that's a good thing. But I'm not gonna stay on long, people. I'm not gonna stay on long. What time is it? I've been on for and 16 minutes. You know what thing I realized? That Jamaican YouTubers stay on these programs a long, long time. Now, other people who do social media, where they do live shows, do it a little bit different. But when you're talking about a given topic for a given slot, most people spend an hour, frankly. You know, look at some of the more well-established YouTubers. I really find it interesting that we spend so much time on. And then the people who are engaging us and watching us are so miserly with their likes. It's amazing. They come in and listen and leave. They're not support. Just some views you get. You now get the likes so the program can elevate, improve, increase. All right, stuff. Good night.
Good night, Mr. Kranky.
What are you saying?
Your show is getting very popular, man. It's hard to get now.
Oh yeah. Are you out to sea or are you on land?
Huh?
Are you out to sea or are you on land? I'm pausing. Go ahead. The floor is yours. What do you have to say? The floor is yours.
I didn't tell you my name. My name is Fisherman.
I know it's Fisherman. That's why I said, why are you out to sea or online? And you didn't answer. I said, are you out to sea or online? And you didn't answer. You seem puzzled. So that's why I say, go ahead.
I just hear you. I just hear you now.
Oh, okay.
No, when I say I'm not really a fisherman, and fishing is my hobby.
Well, if you call it, say a fisherman, and then you're fishing a pond or you're fishing a sea. Which one are you fishing?
I'm fishing a sea, man. Sea.
So on a river you fish. On a river you fish.
No, I'm not fishing a river.
Okay. All right.
Fish me.
All right. Fisherman or fisherman, the floor is yours.
Yeah, man. The thing is, I'm listening from which night you come on? Not last night, the night before.
Okay.
When the acting Gensec make the
wonderful statements from you said.
Statement and you say you have to do a show, because you hear that statement, so you have to come do a show. You never plan it. And I didn't get to listen to all of it still. I was listening, this guy was talking to you, say Jamaica beat US and USA. Them now play about no more MLS player again. And Jamaica beat them.
No, let's play MLS player. I don't think that's necessarily true.
But when I was listening it and I see you sitting down there, you didn't stop.
No, because sometimes I mean, I can't respond to every single thing, but they play MLS players. People say things they say sometimes.
I think you should respond. I think you should stop him. That is my opinion.
No, and it's a fair observation. I thought about it at the time, but I was like, people in the chat who are informed parties know that that's not the case. They pay MLS
was players. Leading people down the wrong path. When some people hear that and they will run with it and say something goes like that.
Did I affirm that comment?
Yeah.
Did I affirm that?
Say anything. He was just
so silence means that I agree. Then what you're saying?
Consent. To me, silent means consent.
Okay. All right.
And you didn't stop him. I was here I was saying, what is this guy saying? I watching this US team. The last Gold Cup or Nation League. Most of the players in that play.
They use a lot of US minutes because they don't want to necessarily. The overseas-based players are sometimes playing so much football, they're trying to protect them, right? Or some of them decide not to play because they're trying to protect themselves. So yeah, they use.
No, but in Pochettino come there. Pochettino selecting player in same now. He must select player from everywhere. Him not disclose, him not say him not select nobody from the domestic.
And that's how every coach should be. That's how every coach should be.
And yeah, so let me get into the meat of the matter now.
Mm.
The statement that the acting Gensec make, I don't really have the only problem I have with it, you make it at the wrong time. Because we still have a chance in the World Cup campaign. So I think he made that statement. You should wait till the campaign finish and then he voice his opinion. As I said.
Wait, you agree with you only concerned about the timing, you don't disagree with what he said?
No, I don't disagree with it.
Okay.
I don't disagree with it.
So my silence doesn't mean so when I'm silent now, I never affirm, consent, or deny what you're saying, right? Because I'm silent, correct?
You asked me.
But I'm just saying, I haven't said, yeah, I agree with you or don't disagree with you, right? So far.
Look here, man. Anyway, I tell you now, I follow these program and the YouTube, you know. So I know all of the players them in this. So I can tell when people accept things from when they not accept it.
Okay.
Anyway, let me continue. As I said, I don't have a problem with the statement. I just have a problem with the timing. But when something not working, we have to take a stand. We have to pull up stump and start over. My thing is, we need to, every time World Cup campaign cycle come around, we decide which way we egg in a one basket into the senior team. Take all the funds we and chuck it in the senior team and it not reaching anywhere. With these set of these set of ballers. First thing, the baller them, what we getting, bringing come here, they are third rated, not even second rated, third rated footballers. And it's not working. We have been doing it. This is the seventh cycle now. Seventh cycle. And we're doing it, and we're not getting any better. We don't better than when we used to use players that don't play in England or don't play. All right, put it at England, because at England we specifically going for English player. And we bring them here and we don't see this side. This side don't improve. We're not beating team where we never used to beat before. The same team that we used to beat, the Mexico, we used to beat them now and then. The US, we used to beat them now and then. The Costa Rica, now and then. We used to beat El Salvador. Anyway, we catch them, we kick out them team. The Guatemalas, we used to beat them. The Honduras, back in the days, we couldn't beat them until we start punch them. Without English-born players. We used to do that. Now,
what years are you talking about? What years are you talking about?
What year?
So it's outside the seventh cycle, you're saying? Outside the seventh cycle, you're saying? Just want to get confirmation. They say you mentioned seven cycles, so it's outside of seven. So you talk about mid-90s, 80s. That's what you're talking about.
Yeah, coming up when we come into the 90s, coming up into the 90s, coming into the 2000s. We normally not beat when I start beat up Honduras, man.
Okay.
Beat up the El Salvador, we not beat up the Guatemala was with beating stick, you know. Without English-based player, man.
Where's the JPL rank versus the Guatemalan League? I'm trying to get some clarity.
I don't know where them league rank.
Right.
I don't know that. I don't know where it rank.
Okay, keep going.
This thing here, no, because you have this narrative where people going around and say, if you don't play with English player, we get 15-0 and we will get 10-0 from that team there and that team. And I beg to differ. Nothing like that. The thing is, we need, when the man said the base of the team, we need to have a base. And the base of the team, we must be players that born here. Go away and play, because you have this narrative where people say, we want JPL player to play. We have a lot of players that play in don't play in England, play all over the world. Not in England. We have played a whole lot of players out there. And we discard them. We discard them because we say if we go for some English player, it will work. And it's not working. Not working one bit. We need to build a team. Like I just said, we need to build a team. When we want few players, we go and we get.
So give me examples of some of the players you're talking about. Give me examples of some of the players you're talking about.
Look here.
No. Look. Fisherman, stop. Fisherman. No. Fisherman. No. You hold up. I'm mute you. You hold up. You've been talking a long time, right? And I've shut up and listen, right? So you listen for a little bit. Please name me, because we have the conversation, the players you're alluding to who are not getting the exposure or getting the opportunity national team that should come into the team that you're talking about who play overseas. Please talk to me about them. What are those players? They're going to create that base you're talking about.
This gone through the gate already, you know. You listen what I'm saying? This gone through the gate
already. But it has to be based on something historical that would have changed the dynamics of the current environment. It has to be. Otherwise, a moot point. It doesn't make any sense.
No, man. But this feel already, you know. So I'm saying.
I know, but I'm saying you saying no. Let's go back to where we are. Because you can't go forward without looking back to where you were. If you were to change things and not use the English-based players, who would you have used for this cycle? Because the English-based players have nothing to do with Jamaica. Wait, English-based players have nothing to do with the football development in Jamaica. Nothing. Zero. So Roy Simpson, you must be talking about players we have developed who should be in the team, who are playing overseas, who are not in the team.
All right. We're talking about the Devante Stewart.
Okay.
I'm talking.
You mean Trevante Stewart? You mean Trevante Stewart?
Trevante Stewart. Yes,
okay.
Sorry.
Yeah.
And the Javan East.
Okay.
I'm talking about the Flemings.
Right. Okay. And you think those players are better than the ones that we brought in?
If I think them better than the one that we brought in?
Yeah, it's not a rhetorical question.
All right. The thing is, I think them on the same levels. I think
they're on the same level. So Trevante Stewart is as good as Michael Antonio, for example, you're saying.
Michael Antonio, we get Michael Antonio.
But he was part of the process. He got injured. I'm just giving you an example.
Michael Antonio come here and him back in I'm career when him.
It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter when it is. He's been picked by the coach, so there's a comparison.
I don't think him.
So you know, Javon East played. What, last year, I think it was, Javon East played. You know Javon East played, right? You know we've seen Javon East come and play, right? You know we see Trevante Stewart, who got himself in trouble with Bailey a couple of years ago because he broke curfew.
I think it's a half one match or one serious match with Jamaica, half a match or something like that.
Which was very poor, but that's a fair point. He didn't get enough chance. But here's the thing about Trevante Stewart. But he's playing in the 42nd ranked league, and I think that's part of his challenge he faced. And by the way, the local coach is the one who picked the local players in the team. That's not disputable. The last coach especially, didn't know the players. The local coach decided Trevante Stewart should not be in the team. That wasn't McClaren, because Warner Brown was in the team as a forward, wasn't he?
Look here. You say me must name some players.
And you did, and I'm talking about the players you have named. That Javon East was in the team at one point. Trevante Stewart is the only player you can play. Fleming was in the team. I watched Fleming play in COVID. Fleming is an okay player.
When Fleming's play for Jamaica, and him play far better than a whole lot of these players that came here.
Like who?
We're not going to pick up.
But specifics, people. When you're having conversations like this, receipts matter. Receipts matter. You can talk in generalities all you want, but receipts are important. Please articulate to me who is better than and which player he would play over.
All right,
and by the way, Jamaica had three at Dixon. They had Cephas, Dixon, Cephas, Warner Brown, Whisper, Bailey. I think they're all Jamaicans, you know. All 5 of those forwards get a lot of playing time are Jamaicans. When we finished the game at National Stadium, it was 6 Jamaican in the team who finished the game, which is more than the English player. But anyway, keep going.
Mr. Kranky,
yes.
You think this thing here is working out? You think it is working?
So you haven't been listening to my program, have you? The thing is not working for a number of reasons. And diaspora players are not your main problem. Yes, some diaspora players are not at the right level. Some local players in the team are not at the right level. Why we ain't saying some local players aren't good enough that are in the team? Have you ever said that, Fisherman? Have you ever said some local players in the team are not good enough? Hell no, you haven't said that. Yeah. Because you're biased.
Look here. Anyway.
No. Which local players are good enough in the team? No. Wait. You just said. Wait, don't tell me what look here, nothing. Answer the question. Are there any local players in the team? Because diaspora players are not good enough. We go for some man who's not good enough. I just told you there were 6 local players that finished against Curacao at the National Stadium. 6 who finished on the field. 6 of them.
Yeah, we finished on the field.
3 start and 6 finish, and 5 were on the field for about 40 minutes. At least 40 minutes at the end of the game, 5 were on the field. Whisper come on for 10 minutes. Dixon come on the 57-minute figure. Cephas played the whole game. Yeah. King played the whole game. Blake played the whole game. Nicholson played the whole game.
Yeah.
Hello.
The base of the team is English base. English band player.
Okay.
The base of the team is English band player. If we move away from that.
So we should go get the Flemo and the Javon East and the Norman Campbells and Trevante Stewart and that's the team we should build, you're saying.
But this what I'm saying, the cycle is finished. Cycle finished. Going forward,
yes.
We need to do, anybody who run in the JFF, they need to emphasize and develop the football from the grassroots level. Develop the coaches them, try to develop facilities.
So here's my suggestion, Fisherman, 1 second before you go further. And that I agree with all of that, right? Here's what we should do, Fisherman. For this upcoming game in March, since Diaspora played the problem, no Diaspora should come and play against North Carolina or come and play against Congo. Would you agree with that?
Well,
would you agree with that?
To be frank,
would you agree with that? Would you agree with that? No, come on, man.
Yeah, man. If them don't come,
right?
If
you be happy.
If them they help put in a problem where we're in right now.
No. But you don't want them. You don't want them. You want Rice Smith. You want Rice Simpson and Allen Jamaica and Lucas Sharpman and Toxic Boss. I don't want them.
If they don't come, I'm not gonna lose any sleep.
Okay, good. I think they shouldn't come either. And I think they should with their service. I think they should withhold their service going forward and make them play no football by themselves. Coming and watching them. If only local based players do not have, I'm not discriminate me now watching them. Only can get rid of people like me.
They don't make we better, Kranky. They don't make we better.
Does the JFM make we better? Does the local players make us better?
We don't improve.
Yeah.
We used to rank at 50, 60. No, we are ranked over 70. We don't improve.
Does the JFF make us better?
I know say the JFF need to shape up themselves, and if them get a new JFF, no problem to me.
Do the local players make us better? Do local players make us better?
That's why you see, I hear you talking. You have a lot of ideas. That's why I was telling you to come home and come help the football. But you say you can't do that.
No, I can. Here's my thing, Fisherman. If people come on and say, look, everybody is to be blamed for this, including fans for that matter. Everybody has some culpability. We can apportion what the degree of it is, the percentages, but everybody owns this. The administration owns it. The media owns it. The players own it because I don't bifurcate between diaspora and local. They all own it. The coach owns it. I can live with that. But when we want to pull out one segment of the entirety, they're beating the coaches and they beat the diaspora players, The man never come on and say the coach awful and terribly, Him talk about the players, the man's speech to the business house community was about the diaspora players, nothing about local players, nothing about the coach, the poor coaching hire they make. Him focus on one segment because that's the piece, the xenophobia that resonate. That made people feel good about themselves. That made they can push off accountability and push it down and blame other people. They don't blame nobody except diaspora players.
As me say, we run a field campaign right now, and for the future, as me say, when we want to happen, that we want anybody who run the JFF, put a plan in place, develop. We want the game to develop, and the thing is, with enough people don't have patience. I hear you're talking about some country where you're talking about Ecuador and those, and the module or whatsoever.
All right.
You see, the thing is, we don't want to. People don't want to wait. People don't want to wait on development. They want
immediate success. They want immediate success.
They want
yeah.
work right away.
Yeah.
And that is what mashing up everything, because people want result right away. So we decide, say, yeah, what we're going to do. We focus on the senior team, and then we pick up the pieces after. No.
Fisherman, Fisherman, you know some Fisherman? I actually, I would love to see a Jamaica team for a year or two just have local players in the team. I would have a problem with that, you know. Just have a local player. And diaspora people not keeping the money to themselves, no contribute to football. Keeping the money to themselves, no going on game like people like AQ are flag everywhere, no keeping the money to themselves. The diaspora people, no, keeping the money, no. This is an anti people. Fisherman. You can't have it both ways, no fisherman. You can't have it both ways, no. You can't. This is diaspora, where you can't do nothing for. Fisherman have said this. Jamaica can't do nothing for the diaspora. Nothing.
Anyway.
Nothing. But Fisherman, do you agree with that, Fisherman? You agree with that? You agree with that, Fisherman?
Yeah, go down that road. When you listen, you have the hurricane and diaspora affair, do this and you.
But it's true.
And you're not going to hold with hostage with them talk. Like.
But I'm saying, but you want with stuff, or you don't want to deal with we. If it go away.
As me say.
If it go away, don't it?
As me say, we pick the team. We get few diaspora player when we look the
No. You can't kick it.
We have the same. If we see player out there, if them know 2 times better than the player we have here, don't bring them come.
So I have a question for you. If you're going for a job with somebody in Jamaica, you're both citizens. One is born in China, but is a Jamaican citizen, and you're born locally. That person has to be twice as better than you to get the job over you. But you're both citizens of Jamaica. Yes or no?
Listen to me. Real talk. Hear the talk with me.
Man, why do you just go for that tangent when I ask you a question?
Look me now, hear me now, man. Hear the talk with me up. You say me, I run a company.
Yeah.
I have some workers, some local workers working for me in my company.
Yeah.
And then I said, you know, I want push out more production, you know, and these workers not pushing out the production what I need. I want to go overseas some overseas workers, and when I bring them here, they're giving me the same thing that the local was giving me, even giving me less.
Right.
You know what I'm going to do? I'm going to turn back to the local and say, you know what? I will stick to my local, because when you develop your citizen in your country, they will end up put back in the country. Them say people, you hear that, people?
When you develop your citizens in the country, they end up put back in the country. So the only people who should contribute to Jamaica, the only people who should contribute to Jamaica are those who are born in Jamaica. That's what you're saying, right?
Develop your own.
But I'm just asking
you. Your people in your country is your greatest asset.
The people in the country is the greatest asset? Are you sure about that? Are you sure about that?
If a man in the country is going to go into war,
yeah,
I almost sure that the citizen in the country will go there and put themselves on the line. I don't sure about the people that live out the country. We don't live here.
So based on that perspective, the diaspora, who contribute 18-20% of Jamaica GDP, why would they send back so much money to Jamaica when they don't give a damn about Jamaica?
They don't give a damn about Jamaica.
Why would they send back so much hard-earned money? I was at barbershop today, and I heard a gentleman come in the barbershop, and he was saying he's going to work. And the man said, "What do you mean you're going to work? You came in here XYZ time. You got off 3 o'clock this morning. What do you mean?" And he's like, "It's cold out there. I got to drink some white rum on the job to feel warm." And I smiled. And you know why I smiled? I thought about Jamaica. And my smile was, some people don't understand what some people go through to make their money, which they then send back to the island to a lot of people who are ungrateful. And they say, "Oh, no one, we're grateful, no one, we're kissing on this for no money." I'm going to say, don't take the money, then send it back at them. Tell them, "You don't want your money." Then we go with their money. Go away with your money. Me don't want it. Why don't you do that then? Tell them, go away with the money. Go away with the people, them. Go away with the money. Why don't I say that? Why don't I do that? And if you do that then, say we don't want your money. Go away with it. We don't want your money. Why not do that?
This thing here not working. And we have to take some drastic action. Not working.
And I agree with you. I agree with you that you should just have local players in your team.
And I don't do that morning. I don't have a problem with it.
Okay.
Because I guarantee you're gonna see some. Look here. Jamaica qualify for the World Cup with have to play Mexico, United States, the whole. This is the easiest chance we ever get to qualify for a World Cup. We should not wanna say again. And we look where we are. with 80%, almost 90% of the players them come from England. When we look on the field sometimes, it's 9 born English player playing for the team, and we're not improving. We're not improving. 9 starter, and we're not improving. And we have been doing this thing for a while, and it's not working. You don't think we should take some action? We can't continue like this.
So from what you're saying, and a lot of people support your position, I think, and I agree with you, what we should do, just play local players. We are both in the same place. I would love to see that. I would love to see that decision made, and we go down that path and see how we come out.
Kranky, every football game, everything that we, and every competition that we enter with Jamaica team, with a youth or senior team, anywhere we go, any final that we go, is 90% of the team is local based, local born players.
Right. So let's talk about your last two junior teams. Wait. I agree with that. Let's talk about your last two junior teams. The under 17. How did they do in a watered down workout? How did they do? Wait. Fisherman. Yes. You make these broad-based statements. You get asked a question, and you run all over the players. How we do with the under 17? How we do with the under 17? How the under 17 women do? The man them do. We go to the woman them. What the under 17 man them do? Outside of the Caribbean, because the Caribbean is poor. What we do in CONCACAF outside the Caribbean? What do they do?
We did not qualify.
How many Englishmen were in the team?
Did not qualify.
No, how many Englishmen were in the team? How many Englishmen were in the team?
I don't remember. Couple, not much.
Okay.
Couple.
So it was the Diaspora fault. Whose fault was that we didn't make it? Whose fault was that?
Whose fault was it?
Yeah. It was the Diaspora fault. Wait, no. It was the Diaspora fault we didn't make the World Cup. Which player wasn't good enough? Wait. The local players, the US players, which players weren't good enough? Which players weren't good enough? Huh?
Lack of preparation.
No, they were together for about a year. No, they were together for about a year. They were together. That's not lack of preparation. They were together for over a year. That team, the under 17 team.
Lack of preparation, show the money in the senior team.
But whether it's lack of preparation or not, it's the same people who are preparing the senior team, who are prepare the junior team administratively. So if you're gonna say that you're just making the point that the junior teams do really well. Was that your point? But locally based players mainly. Let's talk about the under 20, Fisherman. Because you want to go there.
Yeah.
The under 20 team last year, how did they do? Mainly locally based players. We had 14 English. We had 14 English based players. We said we don't want them, right? Just the example. Yeah, talk about the senior team with Diaspora.
I don't think this makes much difference that I never them come.
Wait. They played 2 years before that, and they competed. They didn't win, but they competed. The last under 20 team, how them doing, Fisherman? Mainly do local players with Reedy Knight, who wasn't part of the national program. How them do, Fisherman? Fisherman, how did they do?
They didn't qualify.
No.
They did not qualify.
How did they compete? Wait, the people, how did they compete? How could they compete? Did they win any matches?
Yeah, man, they win match, man.
Against who?
Them never go. I think they go semi-final and get knocked out.
The under 20 team?
Well, man, it is the under 20 team.
So let me educate fisherman who seems not to, who talks a lot. Maybe the fisherman. No, you're damn the conversation. Listen now. Coming up with the fisherman. Fisherman talking loud and talking over me is not the way to go. Let me unmute you. Let me tell you something, fisherman. You just talk about the junior team. Till the under 17, they make it. The under 20 team, people, which I've talked about numerous times on my program, played 3 games. John Wall came in the coach team. Instead of not good enough, him can't coach them, then fire John Wall. Then bring in Jerome Wade to carry water with paper basket. Because not even basket, a paper. It wet up. Then get 9 love from the US. Then get 3 love from Cuba. Then get 3 love from Costa Rica. Locally based team.
Kranky.
Good night, fisherman. Good night. Fisherman, good night. We just kill your rubbish.
It's not gonna work out every time.
So that's your argument. No, it's not gonna work out every time.
We can leave you with this now.
Yeah,
we
leave me.
qualify we qualify under 20, under 17.
How long ago was that? 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 How long ago? No. Because most of these teams, wait, fisherman. Most of these teams are locally based. How long ago was that, fisherman? How long ago was that?
Here.
You mentioned, wait, fisherman, people, hear the disingenuous conversation. Me run. Take another car. Bye, fisherman. Goodbye. Bye. No, bye. Yeah, waste my time. Bye. Good night. Bye. Good night, people. Can you hear me, Carl? Not waste my time. Hello? Can I hear you? Yeah, good night. How you doing?
You on the man them.
No, but you can't have a conversation where you make your point, somebody give you irrefutable evidence to substantiate that your point has flaws in it, and you just want to go on to something else. You just said the diaspora players are the problem, right? And we need to change the methodology we employ to get this done. And you utilize the junior teams as your basis to substantiate your argument, and then the junior team is show flaws all over the place. And you want to have some other conversation. No, you're too disingenuous, man. Go ahead, sir. World traveler. Floor is yours.
I listen to the man them boss, but them man and the reason reasonable. Because if you check the history of Reggae Boys program, every time we put up a local based team out there, we get 5 and 6. Easy. And most times. The only time we say the team is really good with our local based players is the time when Fuller and Andy Williams and Jeremy and you and
right.
Them never sang that time there.
Yeah, that's a good team. That's a good team, yeah.
That was a good team. But different from that, what this man I talk about, we used to beat Honduras. Them things used to happen, them things start happening when Simoes come here, Simoes time I talk about, when Simoes come and start to build a chemistry.
Yeah.
So we start beat up the Honduras and the Guatemala and then even Mexico. First time I beat them 2-1 in the stadium. Wicked free kick from Walter Boyd. Seeing what they know, them start bug out. The Walter Boyd and the Anand, the Low and some of run go for Burton them. Qualify for the World Cup. Burton and Paul. But right now, the football program is dead for me right now, even though we still have a chance, mathematically chance. It's dead for me right now. We don't even know what to talk about. You understand?
Yeah, no, I think a lot of people are disappointed in terms of where we are. I can understand the frustration by a lot of people and want to have the blame game. But if we want to see who is culpable and responsible, we have to look across everyone who affects the program and then allocate responsibility.
The first person me would have blame on the coach. That's the first person I would blame, is the coach. Because him coach have a bias. and him take too long to make change. You understand? When things now go wrong and you players them who you believe in. Because you believe in those players so much, you keep them on the field too long. Talking about like Cephas. You understand? And Gray. Because him believe in those players too so much. Him first me I blame. Then me and Mavericks or something one time. Say maybe they not plan to fire me after the Gold Cup. But then when the World Cup draw come around and them see the group, them probably look and say, boy, a soup. You understand? So hold on to him. I don't know. What do you think about that?
I advocated that they should fire him after the Gold Cup for different reasons. Any coach worth their salt would never go to a tournament with two midfielders. Never. I don't care who's influencing him. Two midfielders, because I knew Hayden was going back to England. I knew Bobby Reed was hurt. And we all know Busy Atkinson is not a midfielder. But Busy Atkinson maybe thrust upon him because he didn't know Busy Atkinson. But he went with two midfielders. And it's not like they're two great midfielders. That's a recipe for disaster. Any coach worth their salt cannot coach my team when they can pick a balanced team. Balance from the concept of midfielders, forwards, and defenders. He cannot coach my team. And if a man with a resume such as that, picking a team like that, shows how uninformed he was. So I've advocated, I said this numerous times, he should have been fired. He should be fired. Why don't fire him? Said that numerous times. Couldn't coach my team going forward. Not happening for me. So the coach, yes, is pretty culpable. And when he was picking players, he went and looked at somebody like Tyrese Hall and say, oh, I'm not strong enough. Can't come in my team. When the kid do better than other people who are playing a female league. So the coach was not objective in his selection process. The coach had no strategy. The coach had no way of playing football. The guy just roll the ball out and say, whoop, something go right. It was a lost man. His pass.
Yeah, man.
Yeah, man. Just roll the ball out to go kick some ball.
He was coaching blind.
Yeah.
And you have a player like Whisper who's so good on the ball. They need someone to break down these players. So you put that man for 10 minutes. And what business that?
Yeah.
What business that, man? So, all right, you have more answer. All the coaches that came to Jamaica to coach the Reggae Boys who stayed and live on the island usually have good success after a time. You usually see them start build a chemistry because what them do, them go around, it's a Schaefer. Schaefer is the first man to beat USA. He was? I'm not sure. I am not sure. Who was the first coach to beat USA?
I can't recall. Was it Schaefer or Whitmore? I can't recall.
I think the first I will beat them at Stadium 2-1. With a Luton Shelton free kick.
So that was that was a while ago.
Yeah, man, a while ago. Now, if that was the first I will beat them, or when Schaefer beat them at the Gold Cup.
You when Schaefer went to the final?
Yeah.
It may have been Whitmore. I know Whitmore gave them a difficult time when he was coach, actually.
Yeah, maybe the 2-1, the 2-1 victory at Stadium, I think, was the first I ever beat them. Yeah.
Somebody said German coach, somebody said Whitmore. I don't know. I don't know who was the first coach, but it's either Schaefer or Whitmore, I would think.
That's what I'm trying to remember. I'm trying to remember if it's a 2-1 victory. Because I think it was a 2-1 victory at Stadium because Stadium was so, people were so happy if you know, say first time we beat USA. That's after the match, people run onto the field. So I really think I'm not sure if it was Whitmore coaching team at the time, or it was Schaefer for that match. But all the coaches them who come, even Bora, when Bora came here, he stayed on the island and he started bringing some good match like Chile. And then big teams start come play friendly and Uruguay. And they were getting good success with the team, but them coach nowadays, the man might come and them not steer them, come back on them yard and that's not gonna work, Kranky.
I totally agree with that. Look, I don't even have a problem with local coach national team, as long as they go out and get their badges and go out and learn their craft outside of Jamaica in a good environment and bring it back. I have a problem with that. I think most national teams should be coached by persons who have that designation. So if it's a diaspora person, for example, coaching Jamaica, they're a Jamaica citizen, I have a problem with that. Or it's a locally born coach, I have no problem with that. As long as they're good enough to do so, I have no problem with that.
Well, what these coaches used to do, they never used to rely on their assistant coach to pick the team for them. They do it themselves.
Yeah, because they know the players. They spend time learning their craft.
Them scout every player. They never do it like Hallgrímsson and McClaren do it.
Well, at some point, Hallgrímsson started picking his own team, right? Hallgrímsson picked when he first came, as you would expect, but he started picking his own team. He ain't replying nobody to do it. This coach really picked his own team. Really picked his own team. But Hallgrímsson, I think, at some point picked his own team.
But up to now, I still can't believe so we never qualify for the World Cup. Right there.
When I saw, so here's where I get myself in trouble. So when I was told about all diaspora player we're getting, which was better quality than we have, I was saying, I wasn't calling it soup. I was like, these players are good enough. I always said this, despite the coach will qualify, not because of the coach. Because I never rated the coach. I never rated the coach. And I said this numerous times, when I went to St. Louis to watch them play, and I watched how he did make any adjustment, we're getting killed. I said he can't coach his team. He's not good enough. No coach would sit on their hands watching the debacle and not make any adjustment. Whether you go 3 at the back and go 4 across, whether you have McGee start tracking, Robinson was running rapid, nobody would do that who knows anything about football. Man is clueless. He may have a big resume. He may have coached at Man U. He may have coached at Middlesbrough. He may have won championship in Dutch with FC 20. To me, he wasn't good enough.
He failed in England, man.
Yeah, he failed in England. He's probably one of the few coaches them take England to, what was it, the Euros or whatever it is. He failed. Yeah, he failed in England.
He failed. He never qualified. That's why them sack him.
Them sack him in a year.
Think himself. 18 months, I think him spent. Just like reggae boys, 18 months. Yeah, but I don't know. Maybe these players are going to just wake up one day and decide to go play some ball and pull off a thing like what they did in Canada.
I think what we're missing is this word, boss. Here's what we're missing. We're not giving Congo enough credit. We're not saying these people are desperate or more desperate than us to get to the World Cup. They haven't been in a long, long time. And they have better players. And they're probably better coached.
Nigeria is a better team now. We are back to them in England. You understand?
The Nigeria team without Iwobi, without Lookman, without Ndidi, without Osimhen. What Nigeria team are we talking about?
Yeah, but we never have some good players for you. We never have Bria. We never have
there's a difference in class in those players. Look, I'm not saying anybody's unbeatable, but it's hard to see how we overcome a Congo if we get by not.
Yeah, but remember, so them are come over and make people come play now. See, so them are fly all the way from Africa.
I hear you. Unless we get better players, and from what people at Rice Sims are saying, they don't want them. We should go with the local players. We should go with locally born players to go play this game.
Listen to me. If we go with our local born players, we did.
We did already. We have.
Even New Caledonia, who never play football, probably that beat with.
I think the locally born players could beat New Caledonia. I watched them play a couple of times. I wasn't overly impressed, but I don't know who they're recruiting because everybody are recruiting. I tell you, everybody are recruiting.
Oh, that's a French island. You know, that country is so far away. I never went there. I went to Australia though. That's why I call myself a world traveler. But Australia is way under. Down under, I should say.
Yeah.
And New Caledonia is even further than Australia. It's not far from Australia, but it's further than Australia because when my musician friend them got here, the man them say, "Oh, Jamaican, no, yes, welcome to the effing end of the world."
It's far from civilization because the first time a lot of people heard about it was when they go to World Cup. You can know that they're not a known commodity.
But for them to make it to the playoff, that means they have something I want.
They may be playing against the Fijis of the world. Doesn't mean they have anything going on. But then again, we couldn't qualify against Curacao, so we're not going to bash nobody.
Yeah, but Curacao is a better region.
No, it's a better, yeah, because Australia can pull out that region. So yeah, it's yeah.
I don't think Australia play.
No, they're not playing in that region. They're not playing that group.
Yeah.
Australia have a good team.
Well, Australia always have a good team, you know. Them just probably can't get past some of the big teams them out there, but
yeah. But I would agree with everyone. The disappointment gets worse every day. It doesn't get any better. The disappointment when you realize that in my lifetime and maybe in your lifetime, we ain't gonna see Jamaica back in the World Cup. Especially if we go the route of just going locally born players, because we can't point to now a team of 23 locally born players who we think are good enough to compete on the national stage. And the ones coming to the under 17, under 20, if they're the ones we see in the national team a few years from now, and some people improve later in life, they're not at the quality required to also get to where you want to get to. So where this place going to come from? Under 13, under 10, under 11? That's another 10, 12, 15 years from now.
Hold on. We used to recruit English-born players for the youth program. Why we're not doing that anymore?
Because the JFF has a quota system, and they'll tell you it's costs and all the other factors, but they want locally born players to be in the junior national teams, not overseas born players. And the last under 20 team, they rejected 14 overseas born players. And these kids were playing at the top academies in Europe.
And a lot of the local born players were coming from Cavaliers, right?
Yeah, quite a bit of them come from Cavaliers, but they come from different teams. They come from different teams.
I know,
but Cavaliers have players in there. Cavaliers have players, yeah.
You see what these men are doing, you know. Everybody try to fatten them pocket, you know. That's the whole thing, you know. Not about speed, you know. See? Them want to give film players exposure because they want to sell players. You know? For strengthen them pocket. See, and all Mr. Butler talk, I think he want to come between.
Yeah, but he's when you have some semblance of success, you can milk it to the nth degree. And everybody want to rally around you. Okay, you have a few change in your pocket. And if they were to look more substantively at you, if they were to dig deep, they realize the love you have is just braggadocio. It's not substance. But you can't say that because you've had some modicum of success and therefore you're viewed in a certain light.
How much players from Phoenix Academy really make it big?
That's only two I know about. Because the only two people have been bigger than Jimmy. And only one has made it big. One has potential and is playing for a big academy. The other one has played at a very high level. I don't know if any other player in Jamaica, frankly, any other player that comes out of Jamaica, no matter what academy they come from, who have done well in the last, 7, 8, 9 years. From the Fullers of the world, so the Shelton and the Fullers of the world, we haven't produced anybody since then apart from those two.
That's what I say.
No, I can't recall. Somebody can remind me, but I'm not playing at any high level or in a high level academy.
Well, whisper to reach here, as they say, potential. He might be potential to reach.
Yeah, he might potential.
It's really just Leon Bailey alone.
Yeah.
You know? Yeah, so I realize every time him go team up with a Premier League team, that team that is relegated. Yeah, them relegated, them struggle.
Well, Villa didn't struggle. Villa hasn't struggled. In fact, Villa is doing well. No, so Aston Villa hasn't struggled.
No, I'm talking about Phoenix Academy. Who team up with last year? Chapel Hill? Not talking about JPL.
What about team you grew up with? They got relegated, right? Was it Chapel Hill? Was it Veer? I don't remember who he was, but he got relegated.
He got Veer first and then relegate, and then got Chapel Hill.
Okay.
Or is the other way around?
I think he probably went to Veer first, if I was mistaken. I don't remember I don't follow the JPL that much, so I shouldn't speak on it. But I know he went to, whatever one he went to, I know they got relegated.
And then a few years ago, he went to Lions. Mike Henry team name. He gave the team in Mike Henry. And when he went here, the team was doing bad also.
Okay.
So I'm telling I think my Mike Henry father person. Humble Lion. So they were called Humble Lion.
Yeah, I haven't really followed JPL. JPL to me is a hard watch. I'm gonna be honest, it's a hard watch.
No, it's true. You have to be here to watch it. You don't look good on the TV.
Okay.
You have to actually be here watching it because the camera system here in Jamaica is not up to par.
Okay. Because I did watch the Mount Pleasant against the team from Dominican Republic. I wasn't impressed. In fact, if that teammate didn't take the ball away, they would have lost the 10 men. If that teammate didn't head the ball away from his teammate who was in the back post, they lost the 10 men.
Well, I think them have the advantage. Them have the one goal advantage, So
yeah, but it didn't really serve them well because it's a away goal difference, right? It's away goals count double in this region. Yeah. That's changed in Europe. So therefore, they would have lost.
I don't think they have the away goal rule. It's just
they have a away goal rule, man.
No, man.
That's what I heard the commentator saying.
No, because them win one love.
Right. So they only had one. The team scored 2. No, right? So it'd be 0 versus it'd be 4 versus 3.
No, but the old time UEFA rule was if you score 1 goal, it count for 2.
No, if you whatever goal you score away, it gets doubled. So one count. Yes. So here it would have been 3-2. It would have been 3-2. So they would have been 6-4. It would be 6-4 with score.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So if the guy that scored that goal later won. Because they scored 3 goals away versus they get 2 for their first 1 love and then get 2 for the second. So it'll be 6-4. Yeah, it's 6-4. They got luck. They were playing from behind at one point, weren't they? It's when McGee came on and when what's his name came on, the forward, that things sort of changed somewhat. But regardless, and they have a club that has resources, right? Regardless, the football in Jamaica needs to improve. And the fact of the matter is, blaming Diaspora for the failure of the national team is unfair. Now the players in the team should get blamed. All the players should get blamed because they all contributed to the failure.
I agree, man. You can't blame the heritage man. Them. You can't blame them.
And I let them come. I mean, if some of them are not good enough, they didn't pick themselves. That's the first thing. You hired a coach who picked players who think can help him to succeed. Some heritage players are not good enough. Some local players are not good enough to compete at that level. That's a fact. And that's why we didn't qualify. But to give your whole speech and to destroy heritage players, to say that the strategy you employ of just bringing heritage players doesn't work and you have to go back to local, and you double down by talking to understand your culture. What is man talking about? Them people that grew up both around Jamaican culture and them yard. People that left Jamaica and live in a little hut. Where you live at Jamaica? You go down a little hut, watch TV, understand why I go in the world. Where you living now? Yet I wasn't understand Jamaica culture.
I not follow them with this thing. Because me knows every time me say a local base team got a one man needs to come here, come start jail local base player. I was doing well. But because Burl never want to pay them, I never give me that full time. And John Barnes.
No, John Barnes left because of interference. It wasn't just money. They want to tell John Barnes who to pick. I was reading an article about that.
Well. John Barnes had 9 match.
Yeah, he had the best record.
Our win are the other way around.
He had the best record. I think he had the best record, but it was a very short sample size, small sample size. I think Whitmore winning record is about 40-something%. John Barnes may over 50. Yeah.
Whitmore in that program.
Now, what I'm saying, Whitmore play a lot of games, and Whitmore play some of them higher competition, right? Whitmore played a lot of games with the national team, but his winning percentage is decent. His winning percentage is
John
decent.
Barnes, the interview what I saw with John Barnes, why I'm say what I'm say, is that he was saying that his contract is up now, so he wants to know from the JFF,
Right.
are they going to give him the job full time so he can move his family to Jamaica?
Okay.
That is the interview I saw with him, you know. So that's why I said they never want to pay him because Burl decided no one give him a job full time because he want to go and use Whitmore him can get a thing.
Yeah, them pay Whitmore chum change, you know.
That's what I'm saying.
For the one them pay Schaefer and pay Hallgrímsson and pay McClaren. A chum change, they get Whitmore, you know.
Chum change, I use Whitmore.
They did.
I use him, man. And him take it because he might try to build a name. So
Yeah.
I really blame him still, you know.
No, man, look, and like you're gonna get tons of opportunities in Jamaica, right? You're gonna make more you're gonna make at the club level or the high school level. So why wouldn't you take it?
Yeah.
And as you said, it increases your profile, it improves your resume, and you can leverage that resume to go coach Mount Pleasant, for example, which he has done well, right? He's won the JPL, won the Caribbean Championship, so his resume only gets better.
Yeah, he's doing well. He's doing well at that level. But just upset all the man them just mash up the program. Now, Speed now he might take up this coaching job now for coaching. I don't know what to, I don't know. Maybe the man them come good. Maybe them come good like when them come good in England. I love to see that.
Look, we have to see what the team look for before we can draw any conclusions and make any predictions and get perturbed or get happy or whatever we get. We have to see what the strategies they're going to employ about this. Who they're going to have in the team. Are all the players going to come make themselves available? Are some players going to protest because they don't get along with him or whoever? Are they going to recruit more players? We have to see what's happening because right now everybody's in the dark.
I think Hutchison needs to come back. Because England have a pick him. And have to start looking to himself now and realize that.
I don't think Hutch is going to come back. I think some players would prefer not to be around Jamaica at all, regardless of not playing World Cup, regardless of not playing for a national team. They just don't want to be around. Their experience was not digestible, and they're like, we don't want to deal with this.
Well, what is the problem was with Hallgrímsson?
Now, I understand. I think Hutchison didn't want to be capped either. So I am not going to always blame the federation or blame the coaches for some players who are trying to manage their situation. They don't want to be capped. They want to have their cake and eat it too.
There's something I want to talk to you about, but the time just now, I don't even know if I have the time right now to talk about it. It's about Ipswich Town and our former player, David Johnson. Because right now, if me see that boy, anyone burn him out,
Why? What happened?
Then I am cast enough to qualify for the 2002 World Cup.
Oh.
I am cast, When we were ready to cap the man decided not to show up, because he was doing so well at Ipswich Town. And they were in I think it was championship or first division at the time. I don't remember. I think it's championship. They got promoted. He must score a lot of goals for them. And after you ready to cap, he must play in friendlies. And nobody in CONCACAF could mark him. Every time he play for Jamaica, man, I think he scored almost every match. He never come up on the bench. But his argument was that he wasn't getting a starting. They wasn't starting him. So, but that somebody talked him into not playing for Jamaica at Ipswich Town.
Yeah. Here's what people don't realize, World Boss. There are a couple of things. One is players are going to think about, for the ones who are in the cusp of England, like a Tyreek Mitchell, they're thinking about, I get 1 cap for England, it's worth 50 cap for Jamaica in a lot of different ways, right? 2 is, I come to Jamaica, I get injured. That's my livelihood. That's my career. That's not good for me and my family. You got to fly 9 hours. They don't have certain facilities. They don't have certain situations I'm used to. I don't want to expose myself to that. I don't love international football that much. I got to think about me and my family. I don't want to deal with that. And then I got to deal with the negativity that I'm going to face when I go there. Why would I want to deal with that?
If you're going to say, they don't love international football like that, then fine. But what do you think Ivan Toney feel right now within himself?
Well, he can't feel bad because we didn't qualify. If we qualified, yeah, but we didn't qualify.
Yeah, but if he was playing for Jamaica, I think we'd have qualified.
Possibly.
Him go on a Saudi and get him money. Where him want? Him big money. But no, him still what? Him about 30, 31, you know?
Yeah, but hey, the money where him get, me I go start to go get my money too. You know, me no portion of money I bring for them. I have a tax probably about $25,000 of a tax.
I'm going to Saudi and make him money.
Yeah, man, he make real money, man. Real money.
I know him going to cap him and dash him away. I never realized that them want to.
Yeah. But England was doing that with a lot of players last year and the year before, actually. They were just, I mentioned this before, people like Gomez who play in France who would, they were capping everybody. They were pushing back on the talent war.
Kobe Benu. I didn't get capped to and get dash away now.
Well, I think Kobe's a little bit different from the other one because Kobe played in the Euro. So Kobe's a little bit different. But the Gomez of the world, all of them when they got capped that time, they were just capping people for cap's sake. They had a strategy to say we're going to cap everybody so they can't play for anybody else. That's what England was doing at one point. Now, we didn't do the best job of bringing some of these kids who have great potential. The JFF hasn't had a recruiting system that allowed them to go pursue players at a certain level, bring national team, because they didn't want to. Because they're trying to satisfy local perspective and local parish president and others of players getting to the national team. So they're not trying to recruit. They do reactive recruiting for players to come play, and that's why they don't get some of the better players. But anyway, whereabouts, I'll leave you. I'll close on the program. I feel tired.
Have a nice rest, man.
Yeah, man. See? Thanks. Appreciate the call, sir.
Yeah, man.
All right, bless up. Everyone, I'm going to close out the program by saying, I know some people were trying to call, and I apologize, but I'm not as young as I used to be. So my body's telling me I need to go rest. First of all, I appreciate each of you who come here and be with me. Some of you for the entirety of the 2 hours. I appreciate it. Second, I want to say that we have to stop the divisiveness. This whole foreign versus local or diaspora versus local is nonsense. And it's even worse when it's been espoused by and disseminated by individuals who are in a position where they should be more responsible, they should be more accountable, and they're not leading. And they're supposed to be leaders. And it's very, very disappointing. And my hope, and the problem is, they have no checks and balances. So in any organization, you should have what you call effective challenge, whereby you are in a situation where the other people in the organization who will challenge you on certain things that you do and say and hold you accountable. That is not the case with the JFF at any level. And it's extremely disappointing. We can't change perception and perspective about how people feel. And that narrative will only get worse as time progresses. And especially when it hits really hard. Come March, it probably get even worse if we don't qualify for the World Cup. And at this point, to me, that possibility is remote. But, and I hope that the JFF and local football committee in Jamaica can work to develop a strategy and a program to improve the abilities, to improve the play of the youngsters on the island. We're going to matriculate eventually to the national team and allow them, those who want to be professionals, to have the best chance of maximizing their potential. What we're seeing today is not the blueprint for success, and we may be even in for more pain as time progresses if we get rid of the diaspora community, especially the players, and only rely upon local talent when we haven't done enough to develop that talent. I would love to see the day where the local talent has the same capability as the diaspora talent, and players can be picked purely on meritocracy because they are all citizens. Right now, a lot of people in the media and in the administration are creating this very divisive narrative that plays to a certain community, plays to a certain audience, but is not helping anyone. So Thanks for being here. I appreciate you being here and have a wonderful night. Peace out.